Hello, my name is Alana Patricia, and this is the channel introduction for Tell My Story. So this will be unscripted, but most of the videos you will see, in fact, all of them will be scripted, and I will be reading off of the script in the video. Trying my hardest, especially now at the beginning, because this is new to me, so reading, looking at the camera, it'll be different, and I'll have to get used to some of it. But the main reason for producing the channel introduction video is for you to get to know me a little bit and to tell you what to expect from this channel and the purpose of this channel. So, my name is Alana Patricia, and I have decided to start this channel to highlight the lives of victims lost in the Holocaust, also people who have survived, and the righteous among nations, the people who have helped and saved Jews during the Holocaust. I've been extremely interested in the subject of World War II and the Holocaust since about 6th grade, since about I was 11 years old. I think that interest really came from my grandmother. She was very interested in reading about World War II and the Holocaust, and she would give me books that she read, and I would read and ask her questions, and we just kind of really shared that common interest, and it really helped form our relationship as I got older. And sadly, she passed away only a few years after starting to get interested in that, but I did inherit a lot of her literature, not just historical, but in general. But my love for reading and learning really came from her, and then also came from my father, who was her son. But so yeah, I spent a lot of time in school with my nose in a book, learning about the Holocaust, reading memoirs, reading historical fiction, Holocaust encyclopedias, anything I could find at my school's library. And surprisingly, my school library actually had quite a large number of books and different writings on the subject. It probably wasn't until we had to read Night by Elie Wiesel in our English class, and I think it was probably freshman year of high school, that I really started to hunger for more information about what happened, so I could retell that information and let people know, hey, this happened. Because a lot of the classmates, they didn't know very much about it, and sometimes it just really bothered me because so much information is out there, we need to talk about it, and it's not talked about very much. So after I read Night, and we had to do like the whole project and everything about it, Elie Wiesel really inspired me to read more and learn more and talk about the events that happened during the Holocaust and get things right. So when I was about 20, I was almost 21, I decided to write Elie Wiesel a letter, and I'm glad I did, because it really had a large, probably the biggest impact on my life since my grandmother. But I don't have a copy of the letter that I sent him, but it kind of went along the lines of how, I had to read his book in school, but I told him that it was very impactful. It meant a lot to me that he shared that, that experience with us so we could learn from it. And that I wanted to teach others or tell others what happened so it would never be forgotten. Because one day there won't be any more survivors or eyewitnesses to tell their stories, and we will be the ones left to take up the torch and keep the memories of everybody that suffered through the Holocaust alive. Essentially, that's what I wrote in the letter to Mr. Elie Wiesel. And not even an entire week passed by, and I got a response. And I still have that letter today. He said, "Dear Alana, thank you for your kind letter. I always enjoy hearing from people, and your letter was no exception. I am moved to learn of the effect that my memoir Night had on you. As a writer, nothing is more important. From your words, it is obvious that you are very sensitive to the darkness of which I wrote. Knowing that you will never forget the tragedies of the past fills me with hope. You can use your knowledge and understanding to educate those who are unaware. You can make a difference in creating a new kind of century. Keep learning and reading more and more. With best wishes, to you, Elie Wiesel." A few years before that, I also had the honor of meeting Ava Schloss. She's known as Anne Frank's stepsister. She was speaking at an event that wasn't too far away from where I lived, and my boyfriend at the time surprised me with tickets to go because he knew how much I was interested in the subject, and he knew I would to talk to her. So, well, I don't recall actually speaking much to her because she was being fielded so many questions. I didn't want to overwhelm her. I did buy her book called The Promise, and she did sign it for me. It was just so interesting sitting there and listening to her talk about growing up in the peacefulness of the Netherlands after leaving Germany in the early 1930s and being friends with Anne. And then all of a sudden, all of this upheaval happens and her life changes forever. And she's sent to Auschwitz in different concentration camps. But meeting Eva Schloss and looking at the tattooed number on her arm really just brought to life to me how real this event, this tragedy, this genocide really was. And it still is for some people because they're still alive and they're still living with these memories. I mean, I think the problem with learning about the Holocaust is we get so desensitized to the events. I mean, we read books and we look at pictures and we watch documentaries, we see videos, but that's just what they are. They're so far removed from our lives. We look at the Holocaust in terms of numbers, 6 million Jews, but do we think about the individual people that were lost in the Holocaust? And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here, is to pick out individuals and really highlight their lives, whether they wrote a diary or there's very little known about them. Whatever I can find out about these people, I want to show you, I want to tell you their story and what happened to them. And whatever happened to the people who did survive and do have memoirs. It's very important to me that we stop looking at the Holocaust in big numbers and look at the individual victims and really get to know them and understand their lives and connect and relate, because they were just like you and me. Anne Frank was just like me when I was her age. Granted, I didn't write as well as she did, but I still related to her. And that's what made her diary so popular, was because she was relatable. She was a teenage girl, but she was in different circumstances that we could never understand, but we found a way to relate to her as children. That really is the goal of Tell My Story. I'm telling the story of those who cannot tell their own stories anymore, and really telling them individually so we can remember their names, their lives, and their family members. There's a video coming soon I've been working on for several weeks, and there are a few more that are in the works. I want to thank everybody who's supported me on creating this journey. It has been several years in the making. I hope to see you soon. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy getting to know these people that we will get to know in the future. Thank you for joining in.